I think this is destiny for Volkanovski. I think this is meant to be for him. He's in the perfect dream scenario. He said that when he had his first fight, and it's true that it was like a fairy tale. It could be a fairy tale ending for him. And then now with the rematch, he's like, that's not really a fairy tale ending for him. And the fact that this fight came in on 12 days notice, now he has the opportunity again to have a fairy tale finish. And I mean, you couldn't ask for any other opportunity for a fairy tale ending. You know, he's achieved so much in his career that he doesn't have that many more challenges. And to have a challenge like this and the pressure like this, I mean, this is probably his last opportunity just like this to show that he's that guy. I think this shit's meant to be without doubt. And I feel like Islam Makhachev feels the pressure. I know he's scared. I think he wanted to fight Charles instead of Volk, and he seems really bothered by fighting Volkanovski. Tomorrow in Abu Dhabi, Islam's going to come short, and he will get finished in the 4th round. Hey guys, welcome to the False Nine Podcast here with episode 171. Your host, Alvaro. Welcome to the show. We have UFC 294 tomorrow in Abu Dhabi. Don't forget, the fight is, I want to say the main event starts at 1, so don't forget about that. And but make sure you tune in, because I've done that before where I forget that it's during the day, so don't forget. Just want to remind you guys. But we're only going to talk about 3 fights. We got the Johnny Walker fight against Magomed Ankalaev. I can't pronounce his name at all. And then we have the Usman Khamzat fight, and then the main event, of course, the Islam versus Volkanovski fight. If you are a diehard Islam dick riding dude, this episode is going to trigger you, because I'm not going to hold back. And I hope you guys enjoy. Just want to let you guys know in advance. I do want to clear something up from the last episode. Clearly, we had the KSI in that fight, and I see a lot of people upset with my clips. And I just want to say, you know, for one, I don't care who won the fight. I don't care who won the fight, whether it's KSI, Tommy Fury. I don't care who with the robbery. I just don't care. I don't care who won. The fight was shit. It was an ugly fight, boring fight, terrible. I don't care who won. I mean, if anything, but give the guys both a fucking L, right? But my thing is, you can't be this big influencer and have all these followers and throw a fucking fit. Like, that's just unacceptable for the person you are and for the audience. Like, they don't deserve that. And I mean, you're a fucking 30-year-old man throwing tantrums on pay-per-view. Like, come on now. And on top of that, it's just a fucking influencer match. Like, chill the fuck out, people. And like, what does KSI gain from beating Tommy Fury besides, you know, thinking his camp and letting his ego and letting him have his moment? What else? What else? That he's better than Jake Paul? Is that what you guys want? Oh, but he beat Tommy. He's better than Jake. Like, is that what you guys want? The only way he'll be better than Jake is if he beats Jake. And that's just not happening. So for you KSI fans or gobblers or whatever, you guys need to chill the fuck out, because it was just an influencer match, and you guys need to tell your boy to go fight Jake, and you guys want to see that fight. Stop, leave, like, that shit's over with. Give the guy, to me, both of these guys lost. It was a shit fight. So you guys need to chill. Just want to say that, because the comments are like, oh, and I'm like, bro, this is a fucking influencer match. I never seen people get mad about a real boxing match, but you know, we have an influencer match and everybody's all butthurt about it. But it's just the comments, you know. I know those people are fans, and you know, probably younger fans. But let's get into it, guys. We have Johnny Walker versus Magomed Ankalaev. I can't say his name right, but I've seen this guy Magomed. I've seen him fight. I've seen him fight in Dallas when we had UFC something. And he beat Anthony Smith, and I was like, bro, that motherfucker crazy. He's going to become champion. I said that. I was like, he's going to be champion, because I don't know who's going to stop him. And at the time, I think the title, or that, I don't know who was champion at the time, but I want to say the next champion was Yuri, or it was when Yuri and Glover fought. That was the next title fight. So it was like around that time when they had fought. And I was like, bro, he makes it. He can get in there and, you know, potentially take the title. I can see that happening. So I saw that fight. He made Anthony Smith look like a chump. So I was like, brother, he's scary. And then he goes on, and I believe that's when he fought Jan Blachowicz, and then that ended in a controversial ending. They should have gave it to him. Magomed. They should have gave it to Magomed. I believe he won the fight, and he should have been crowned the champion. And I feel like the UFC and the judges did him wrong for that. It shouldn't have ended in a draw. And yeah, I mean, and then Jan goes fights Alex and loses to Alex, and and they should have just, honestly, I don't know why he wasn't champion. And I mean, I'm not that I'm a fan, but he's a fucking beast, and he should have won that fight, and he should have been the champion. And I just don't know who can give him the smoke like that. Obviously, Yuri probably could, and Jamal Hill probably could, and I would like to see him fight those guys. Now, as far as Johnny Walker, I have mixed emotions about Johnny. I'm a fan. He's a cool guy. He seems likable. He seems goofy. He seems funny. But, you know, when we talk about skill set in his fights, it's questionable. Now, he's been more active than his opponent recently, but I do want to say that he got knocked out by Jamal Hill a few fights ago. I don't know if it's a year ago or 2 years ago. He got just, you know, point blank knocked out by Jamal Hill. So I don't think he's I don't know if he'll ever reach like championship potential, but it's a good fight. It's a good test for him, because if he gets the win, it's just like, okay, this guy he's for real. He's gotten better. He's evolved as a fighter, and he's ready to fucking go like now. Now for Magomed, oh my gosh, I can't say his name. Magomed. I'm gonna just try and say his last name. Ankalaev. I'm sorry, I can't say his name. But for the opponent, like I said, he should have been champion. So it kind of sucks that he has to go through another journey or another road to gold. You know, to fight Johnny Walker, who's not really the best opponent to prove like, hey, I'm next for gold. But if he wins this fight, he should definitely fight the winner of Alex Pereira and Yuri. I don't see why they shouldn't do that. You know, and I think he deserves his title shot, and because he should have had glory already. So that's how I feel about it. I don't think Johnny Walker stands a chance with him in the ring. I don't think that fight lasts more than 3 rounds. I think he's just gonna take it to him, and that's it. And I think he's gonna get DKO'd, but TKO'd, and that's it. So it'll be a good fight. Hopefully at least we get 2 rounds of it. And and hopefully this Daki or Russian guy could show his skills and just show like, hey, give me my belt. I'm the champion. Give me my belt. Give me my title shot. And he can just put on a statement performance, and just let everybody know who he is. So that'll be cool to see. And it'll be, like I said, it's going to be an exciting ass fight. But not as exciting as Khamzat versus Usman. Now, clearly, we all know the drama that had happened earlier last week with Paulo and who's the other guy? And Charles. I'm wearing his shirt. My bad. And so we were going to have Khamzat versus Paulo, which was a really good fight. But, you know, Paulo has never really been anything, you know, scary, or I don't know, like just not really up there in my opinion. After the Izzy fight, Izzy kind of shut that shit down, and we never really heard much of Paulo. So it was a good fight, and it was a test for Khamzat in the division because he was moving up. So I was like, okay, like let's see how he does, like against just somebody heavier with some decent skills. And that's how we felt, and everybody was like, okay, Khamzat's gonna get the win, you know, whatever. Clearly, he pulls out the fight. And unbelievably, Kamaru Usman steps up and takes the fight. You know, and we're going to talk my first thoughts. I was like, oh, crap. Like, this is crazy. Like to step up and to fight someone like Khamzat, I don't know how many people they called to try to get to the Khamzat fight. But I'm like, bro, I do not want to fight Khamzat in 12 days notice. I just don't. And I don't blame anyone who did not take that fight, because that's a tough-ass fight. Like, you probably going to get your ass beat unless you a bad motherfucker. Like, dead ass. So it makes sense that Usman stepped up, and I wonder how many phone calls they made before they got to Usman, or how many people they've chosen, and then Usman was the one that stepped up. But I mean, I'm happy. I was so excited to see this fight. I was like, bro, I'm more excited about this fight than the Paulo fight, like straight up. And if we can see a vintage Usman, just like, I mean, even like the first Leon Edwards version of Usman, if we can see anything close to that, it's a good fight, like good. And I feel like, there was a lot of chirping about Khamzat gonna, just run through Paulo. And now that it's changed a little bit, I don't hear that chirp. I don't see that like, oh, Khamzat is gonna run through Usman, because we all know what Usman could do. We all know how long he was champion and how dominant of a champion he was. So, he's only been taken down twice or once. I think twice. Once by Kobe and then once by Leon. I don't know if he was taken down by Leon a few more times on the second fight, but his ground game is amazing. His takedown defense is one of the best in the UFC. And we all know Khamzat has one of the best takedowns ever, just crazy. And Usman can scrap, and Khamzat can scrap too. And I want to talk about Khamzat versus Gilbert Burns for a little bit. So, Gilbert Burns, a really good fighter, but, one of the best, but not elite, in my opinion. And I thought he was going to get there, but he had a little roadblock, so we'll see if he'll ever get there. But, Khamzat struggled with Gilbert, and that fight was close. He got hit with some bombs and everything. And if we remember, and this is just a little bit of MMA math, though. Don't give me too much shit. Gilbert fought Usman. That fight was close. I thought Usman was going to get knocked out, but recovered real good. So if, we put it in MMA math perspective, it shouldn't be an easy fight for Khamzat. It shouldn't. It should be a very tough fight for Khamzat. And I think it is. It's gonna be I think it's gonna be Khamzat's hardest fight, without a doubt. I have no doubt about it. There was a video yesterday of Usman training, and then he says something popped. Clearly, it was probably his knee, and they kind of just walk off and go about their business. Now, I'm pretty sure, 100%, this is not the first time this shit happened to Usman. If he's been struggling with his knees like he said he was, it's not the first time. I have a problem with my knee. My shit pops when I just stand up a certain way or walk turn a certain way. So if it popped, it's not the first time. It's not like, and I'm not saying that it's not a big deal, because I'm pretty sure it is. But if it popped, it's like, okay, we gotta chill. This is, I'm like I said, I'm sure Usman's been there before. So he, he's like, I probably gotta chill and just not like, roll or do too much. But Usman has crazy cardio, and I'm sure he's fought fights where he's been fucked up. Like, you're telling me when he fought Kobe, when he fought Leon, when he fought Jorge, like, his knees were fucked up, because they were. But Usman just has it in him. And people are making so much of that video. And I'm like, bro, Usman's been, like, that's happened to Usman before. There's no doubt, like, his shit's popped, like, right before a fight. So to me, I'm not like, oh, that's bad. Like, oh, no. His knee's been fucked up. We don't even know how long. Like, we don't know how he's fought his fights. We don't know all that shit. We just seen him be a dominant champ. For all we know, he was fucked up against Leon the second fight, and that's why it went the way it went. Like, if we're being real. So I think people need to, like, not make too much of that video, but, clearly we are. And hopefully Khamzat doesn't make too much of that video, because I don't want him to get caught up like, oh, his knee's fucked up and whatever. I know they're professionals and things like that, but, we don't know how long Kamaru Usman's been struggling with his knees or his knee for how many fights and for how long. I think it's been a long time, and he's been fighting like that for a while. Now, when we talk about the fight itself, again, this is Khamzat's toughest fight. Kamaru Usman doesn't have to cut that much weight. The dude's already shredded like it is. I'm sure he's a heavy guy. And I'm sure he said he doesn't have to cut a lot. And I'm like, bro, all you got to focus on and just put together a nice game plan. I mean, Usman has fought 5-round fights for the longest. If I'm not mistaken, this is a 3-round fight. he has no issues with cardio. Cardio's not going to be an issue for Usman. So, now he just got to put it together a decent game plan. You talk about the people he's fought with, Kobe, Jorge, and Leon were his previous fights within the last 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. Kobe, one of the best wrestlers in the division, if not in the UFC, decent striker. Jorge Masvidal, arguably one of the best strikers in the UFC. And Usman shut that shit down, knocked the fuck out of Jorge. And then, Leon dominated Leon for about 4 to 3/4 of a fight of rounds, and then got knocked out. And then he wanted to fight Leon the second time and just couldn't get it done. So this is a new start for for Usman. It's kind of a fresh restart, a reset, you could say, and kind of a new chapter in his UFC career. You're moving up, and if you win, you can be a champion. You'll have your title shot at 185, and you can fight someone like Sean or whoever. And I just don't. Like I said, this is not an easy fight for either fighter. It's a 50-50 fight. I don't see nobody getting knocked out at all. And I'll be real, if anyone gets knocked out, it's going to be Khamzat Chimaev. I'm just being real. He's going to get caught with a nasty right hand like Jorge did if anyone gets knocked out. Now, like I said, this fight's to me, it's going to go 3 rounds, and it's going to come down to a decision. And I think the tiebreaker or the reason whoever's going to, if Khamzat can get the takedowns, Khamzat wins the fight. If Usman can stuff the takedowns and kind of control that part of the fight, Usman wins the fight. That's how that shit's going to go. So we don't know how it's going to go. It all just comes down to how healthy is Usman. Because I think if Usman is like 80% healthy, which is pretty good because I'm pretty sure most of his fights are 80% healthy, he can probably get the edge over Khamzat. I'm just being real. Don't get me wrong. I want to see Khamzat become champion one day. But Usman's no slouch, bro. No slouch. And we've never seen him at 185. You don't got to cut too much weight. You already have crazy cardio. It's 3-round fight. All you got to go in there and scrap. And just don't get taken down. And you win the fight. Because I don't think Khamzat stands a chance with Usman on when we talk about, standing up or just a striking game. Just being real. So, but this is one of those fights where anything can happen. Anything can happen. And like I said, if anyone's going to get knocked out, it's going to be Khamzat. And we'll just see. I'm not going to say if Usman, like I said, if anyone gets knocked out, Usman knocks out Khamzat. But if it goes to a decision, it all comes down to if Usman can, stuff the takedowns and just somewhat control that part of the fight. Now, if Khamzat can get the takedowns and do what he does, he'll win the fight. If he fought like he fought Gilbert, I don't think he gets the win. So, I don't know. There's more pressure to me on Khamzat on this fight. And, he wants to become champion. He was pretty close doing it at 175, but he didn't make weight and all that shit. And then now he's at 185 and he wants his title, So, we'll see, man. It's going to be a good-ass fight, and I'm fucking excited for it. So, now the main event. Islam Makhachev against Volkanovski, Alexander Volkanovski. This fight originally was going to be Charles Oliveira, if you guys see here on my shirt, versus Islam Makhachev. And I want to start off by saying, yes, Charles didn't want to go to Abu Dhabi. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to do all that shit. But he still did it. And he was still going to do it. And I don't want to hear what anybody was going to say. I think it's pretty shitty that Bilal Muhammad goes and say that he never wanted to go to Abu Dhabi and that why spar like that. I think that's bullshit, and I get it. You want to hold it down for the Khabib team and be on that side. But I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Come on, chill. And like I said, I've never been a fan of Bilal Muhammad. He's not that good to me, so it is what it is. But Charles clearly never wanted to go to Abu Dhabi. He made that shit pretty clear. But he signed the fucking contract, and he was going to go to Abu Dhabi, and he was going to fight. And he was getting ready for a war with Islam Makhachev. And I don't see what's wrong with sparring hard with that. He got caught. He got cut. We got caught and cut. And we don't know how it happened. So we can't be like, why spar that hard? What if he got caught with the elbow like during a grappling exchange? Or what if like someone threw a kick and on the way down to the kick, the heel caught his eyebrow? Like, we don't know what happened. Maybe it was a headbutt. We just don't know. So for people to start saying, "Oh, Charles never wanted to go," I'm like, bro, Charles wants to be champion, and he knows in his heart, and I'm sure in his mind, he knows that he can beat Islam Makhachev. But I'm pretty sure he's like me, who can't stand, the Islam dick riders and the Khabib dick riders, and just that like fan base and that what is it called, energy. I'm not a fan of it. I'm gonna be real with you, and I'm gonna speak more about that here in a second. But it's like, I get it. Charles doesn't want to go over there. I wouldn't want to go over there either. Like, I don't want to do that shit. I'll be real with you. Now I'm gonna go do it and fight, and Islam's gonna have the edge because the fans and all that, whatever. And it was pretty shitty that they were gonna fight in Abu Dhabi again. So, but like I said, it's no excuses. The fight's not happening. But I just wanted to clear that up because I think it's pretty shitty that people are saying that Charles didn't want to fight. And they asked Volkanovski, like, do you think that like that came through his mind? And he said no. Like, no, like that fight was going to happen. He knew that Charles wanted to fight, and he was worried like what was going to be the outcome of the fight. So he was surprised, and he was happy when he got the phone call. So, and I'm just defending Charles, probably my favorite fighter in the UFC, and Brandon Moreno, and then Volkanovski. So yeah, and let's talk about the fight real quick. Let me see if I got any first thoughts. I do want to say something good though about Islam and Khabib. So, I was watching Him Better and all that, and I saw Khabib and Islam, and I was just thinking, I was like, man, like, Khabib kind of built a legacy here. He really did, and it's really special, with this whole dad, and then Islam, and the fact that they said Khabib was going to be champ, and that after that it was going to be Islam. I'm not gonna lie, that shit's fucking beautiful. I think it's badass that Khabib was champion and they gave the throne now to Islam. Like, that shit's nice and that's cool. And I'm sure like they are very, very proud of that. And they should be, But I'm not a fan of those guys. But I'm not going to deny and say that like that's shitty or whatever. But I will say that like that shit's fucking awesome and badass that they were able to accomplish that. For their Dagestan people and just for their community and everything, and like their fans, like that shit's dope. Now, I do want to say also is that I think that we give Khabib too much credit. We make it seem like Khabib is this not necessarily a god, but like just this great, the best fighter. Don't get me wrong, he's one of the best, but I mean, it's like if Izzy would have retired right now. And like, let's say he beat Sean and he would have retired. That's what basically Khabib would have done. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, no, because Khabib never lost a round and this and that. And maybe that's true. Khabib was a very dominant fighter, but he walked away, like, and in my opinion, way too early. And I think if he would have stayed long enough in the sport, not long enough, but at least another year, we wouldn't see a so dominant Khabib. Khabib struggled a lot with weight. There's been so many fights that he's pulled out because of weight. So many fights that didn't happen because of weight. And now, people made a big deal like, oh, Khabib's going to be in Islam's corner. And I'm just like, bro, like, so? Like, it's not like that's just going to make Islam 5 or 10% better, because it's not. Now, there's been videos of Khabib, calling out certain things, and it's like, oh, shit. But it's just, I don't know, maybe other coaches probably see that too. And I'm not trying to like shit on Khabib, but I just think we give him too much credit. Don't get me wrong, he's one of the best in the UFC. He's going to go down as one of the best, and probably one of the best in the lightweight division. But like, let's not forget, he walked away a little too early. And yeah, he beat Dustin. Yeah, he beat Justin. He beat Connor. But those were different versions of those fighters. And I don't know. I got mixed emotions, but I don't want to get into that. But I just think that we give Khabib too much credit, and I don't know, like, and it's really just like the Daki or the Russians, or that fan base that rides for their people, and it's just like Khabib. And I'm like, bro, why are we giving Khabib so much credit? I just don't get it. I get that he's a beast, but there's been so many other fighters that have accomplished a lot of things and have been very dominant. And I've never seen so like just that much praise on the other fighters as much as I've seen as Khabib. And I get it. And I get it. Like I said, I get it. Russia's a big country, and they have a huge fan base. Like he has a huge fan base and things like that. And they're really proud of their guy. Makes sense. But I don't understand like why we give so much credit. Like I just don't see it. Now, let's talk about the fight a little bit. Thoughts on the fight? When it got canceled and they announced Volkanovski, I just laughed. I was like, what the fuck? I was hyped too. And I felt bad because I love Charles and I want to see him get his title. But, Charles is going to stay at the lightweight division. And I think that he will get his title shot again. But for Volkanovski, I don't see... I mean, this is the best thing that could have happened to him. Like, this is the best thing for his legacy, for his career in the UFC. This is the best thing that could have happened to Volkanovski. And that's why I was like, bro, like, we all have those things when, like, they unexpectedly happen, but it's meant to be. And I think that's what's going to happen here for Volkanovski. That Volkanovski, was doing his thing, went about his business, went to fight Yair. He's going to fight Aaliyah in January and just keep dominating. And now this came up and I'm just like, bro, like, this is meant for Volk. Like, this is for Volk. And he's going to go out there and get it done, in my opinion. So I was just really happy, and I'm happy for Volk to get this opportunity. I know it's a 12 days notice, but Volkanovski is one of the best fighters in the world. He doesn't need a full training camp. He's fought Islam before, and he believes in that training camp. And then in the fight, that he gave Islam way too much respect in the beginning of the fight. He's like, in this fight, I'm not doing that. I know what I can do to Islam Makhachev, and I'm just going to go in there and put it on him. And I just, that shit gave me chills when I heard Volkanovski say that. And when he said that, don't forget what happened in the last fight, I punched your head through the canvas. I was like, bro, like, that, hearing those glimpses of Volkanovski, I'm just like, it just gives me chills because I'm like, bro, you are ready to fucking go. And, Islam Makhachev and Khabib were not too happy to take Volkanovski. They do not seem happy about it at all. And the reason why I say that is because we talk about the first fight. They were calling out Volk like, yeah, let's do it, for the GOAT and best pound for pound. And right now it's like, oh, we can see if King Kong can make weight, or last fight, like we won. So like, it doesn't matter. People gonna make, like, I'm just like, bro, why y'all still talking about the first fight? Like, you guys won. Leave that shit alone. And like I said, I think it's funny. Like, they just don't like that they're fighting Volk. They didn't want to fight Volk. They want to fight Charles Oliveira because they believe that fight's easier. And now they got to fight Volkanovski, a harder fight to them. And they don't want that. They don't want to deal with it. And I think it's funny. And I think it's funny how no one's talking about it, or that's just low key. But guys, Islam Makhachev, Khabib, they are scared for this fight. They don't want to fight Volkanovski. They don't. They made that shit pretty fucking clear. They keep talking about the first fight and the whole rehydration, all this bullshit, which I get, but hey, you guys won already. What is there to talk about? What are you guys worried about? And if you guys say that you guys are these, dominant guys, bring it on, baby. Like, why you guys, like, I don't know. They just seem so butthurt and so bothered the fact that they're fighting Volk, and Volkanovski's just like, fuck it. Fuck you. I'm ready to go. And I love seeing the attitude towards Volk because he's ready to fight. And Islam is scared. He doesn't want that fight. He doesn't want that challenge. And he's trying, and in my opinion, he's trying to run away from the challenge and run away from 155 and just, collect gold and be like, oh, I'm the best because I'm champion. I was like, hey, mate, you got to be a dominant champ. You got to fight all these other guys too. Because he hasn't fought Dustin. He hasn't fought Justin. And I keep saying this. He hasn't fought those guys. And there's still more guys coming up. And you want to move up. I don't see it. And I want to read you guys a tweet before I actually get into the fight. Let me see. So right here it says, this guy, MMA Paul, he says, so you're telling me Islam is calling for a shot at the welterweight belt and the double champ status without defending his belt once against an actual lightweight in the UFC? And then he talks about the UFC, how it's a joke. And it's true. He beat Charles, and they got they were going to do the rematch. But then he fought Volk, 145er. I was like, bro, you never defended your title. You haven't still defended your title. This is your first, I mean, kind of title defense because it is Volkanovski. You fought him at 155, but you haven't fought nobody else after you got the belt. Like, why do you want to get the belt and just go do something else? I was like, hey, stay champion, be a dominant champ, you know. But he thinks because he has that Khabib, you know, favoritism or leverage, he can go and do that shit. But no, bro, that's not how that shit works. So we'll see. Now let's talk about the fight. Clearly, we all know how the last fight ended. I think Volkanovski won that fight without a doubt. I've watched that fight so many times. And I say so many times it's a 5-round fight. And I watched that shit like 3 or 4 times. And Volkanovski won. He won the fight. Don't get me wrong. Islam is an amazing striker. It's unbelievable how good he can catch you. And Volkanovski is ready. But Volkanovski clearly was not faded by the strikes. I don't know if it was adrenaline or he just has that chin on him. But, you know, he got caught with a few good punches. I mean, he kind of dropped a few times. But, bro, Islam's one of the best strikers. I'm not going to take that away from him. Now, for some reason, it don't seem like he got that power because he's never just dropped somebody and finished them. So, we've seen him drop Charles, but, like, that punch, I feel like it was on the chest. So it was like an unbalanced, you know, punch. But I'm sure it was strong. But, yeah, we haven't seen Islam, or we can't say that Islam has knockout power because we don't know that. So I don't think that's a problem for Volk, and I think Volk now understands that, and he just got to be worried about the wrestling, if anything. But like Volkanovski said, he gave too much respect for Islam, and this fight, he's not doing that. And I was like, you got the best version of Islam, and that's how the fight ended. I was like, you make a few adjustments, you could come on top if you're Volkanovski. So I think this fight's going to start off completely different. I think Volkanovski is going to go in there and just start showing him different things and putting him in tougher situations. And he's going to make Islam make quicker decisions. And we'll see what a pressured Islam looks like. An Islam who has to make decisions quickly. And you have someone who's pressuring you. Because I think how this fight's going to go, I think Volkanovski is going to have it on his heels. And like I said, he's going to make Islam make a quick decision every time. And he's just going to wait for Islam to make mistakes or just be better than Islam on the night. So I do see this fight going 4 rounds. I don't think this fight goes to 5th. It could go to a decision. If it goes to a decision, I think Volkanovski wins 4 rounds and maybe 1 for Islam. But I definitely see a one-sided fight, and you guys are going to think I'm fucking crazy for thinking that. But I don't see Islam being any dangerous to Volkanovski. I just don't see it. On the last fight, we didn't really see Volkanovski in any danger. Yeah, Islam had control time, but he was getting punched in the head, so it's kind of weird. But we never really saw Volkanovski like in some real scary situations. And, you know, Volkanovski had the better moments in that fight. And it's just like, bro, Volkanovski is just going to take it to him. And we've seen Volkanovski like just take it to people. And it's scary. You know, when you get a aggressive, technical Volkanovski, we've seen it before. We've seen it. And he's so fucking good. So it's going to be a one-sided fight. Islam's going to lose this fight. I think he's just going to it's just too much for him. It's like he's gonna be challenged and he's gonna be put in situations that he hasn't been put in before, and he's gonna have to make decisions way too fast, and that's just gonna cause him to just get caught up. And I don't want to say choke or fall or like possibly fold, and he's just not gonna be able to handle Volkanovski pressure. Because one thing that Volkanovski does so well, he knows how to pressure you. He knows how to manage distance and close the distance, and he's just gonna. Like I said, it's going to be a one-sided fight. It's not going to be close. It looks close on paper, but tomorrow, during the day, Volkanovski is going to be champion, crowned as champion, and it's going to be a one-sided fight. That's how I feel. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm recording this in the morning, so hopefully my energy's there. And let me know what you guys have on the predictions. I want to know if you guys agree with me or if you guys don't agree with me. And if you do or don't, but especially if you don't just leave a shit comment. Give me a reason why you actually don't, and we can go back and forth like that. But if you leave a shit comment, I'm not going to reply to you. I'll give you a like, though. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday, and we'll talk about what happens on the fight, and hopefully, Volkanovski's champion, and we'll see what happens. And